as citizens of this country, we want to know what happened. We don't want to brush things under the carpet. Lieutenant General Hasnani quite rightly said that you can't just keep throwing things backwards. And that, in fact, is the attempt. So when Makarand invited me for the film, after we had met up on one of the conclaves in Bombay, I thought it was one of the most exciting experiences to be part of history when we go along, because history is generated as we speak, and we are presently also creating history. The second flagging that I want to do, I think this whole issue coming up at this point possibly also has a relation with the 2019 abrogation of Article 370. I think in our own way, we have woken up to a reality that Kashmir is not something which is separate, something which has to be kept in a kind of pocket and not brought forward. So the abrogation in 2019 August, which I think is one of the most historical events, has fast forwarded this entire movement forward to say, look, this is the tragedies, or this is the series of tragedies that happened in Kashmir. We need to look at it to see how to rectify it and bring back people in the fold. And secondly, to learn what we should not do in future. We can't keep quiet. We can't keep holding things back. Another flagging that I would like to do, Makrand, at this point, even though I know I'll come to the bill very shortly. My first response to the film, I told my husband to come for the film. He said it's a depressing film. I thought about it and I said, look, I remember this, I would equate this to something called Water by Deepa Mehta. When I started the film, I actually wanted to put off the film. I didn't want to see it. It was so horrifying and gruesome. But at the same time, within me, it said, no, I need to know what happened. And I think that is the ultimate film goer, if you like, and somebody who wants to learn from history and go into experiences. Incidentally, my father was a film distributor, a little known feature in my life, but a very important one. So I have been in the film industry one way or the other. So lastly, to come back to the feature of the bill, all these attempts ultimately, and I remember again, Makarand, I've been party to this entire movement sometime almost 30 years back when I went to Belgium and we had gone to the International Court of Justice. In fact, in this entire event of Kashmiri Pandits who were driven away by this exodus and the measure to rehabilitate them. So my connection with this issue is somewhat older than today, goes back a few decades. But today we come into a time where the government has stepped in. The government has provided for rehabilitation packages. As we speak, we did have 2008 when schemes were announced by the government. We do have the Modi government in 2015 announced a second central aid package. There are rehabilitation camps, but we can't do with piecemeal measures only. We need to have a complete code which is available for us so that we can ultimately bring back this highly centric, erudite, professional, and very well managed group of people who form the ancient part of our civilization and who have led the country forward. So the rehabilitation bill that has been recently mooted by one of, in fact, my friends, who was also a colleague at the Campus Law Center, by the way, Mr. Vivek Tankha, that is something which has come forward recently and advocates a series of rehabilitation measures, both economically, politically, and socially. And what it does talk about, as somebody said just now, is a white paper, is also some contemplation to bring out the truth of what happened. There's so many versions. History is written by the victors, as they say, so history always keeps varying, but history must be written in the right perspective. And that is what all of us are here for, to ensure that our citizens get their due in society, the lands of the Saraswat and whatever else. In fact, what I enjoyed about the film on the last note, Makaran, so much was the enumeration of the gains that Kashmir has given to India as such. The knowledge base, the intellectual base, the scientific base, I think something which I had not known so well about. So thank you very much for this entire exposure, the exposure to all the people who are here. And Subhash, I will look up your article, which Makarant very kindly brought forward immediately after we finished this session and read it at some appropriate time. But the bill heralds a very good feature, the measure to recognize the tragedies that have happened and a measure to address them. We may debate about the bill, we must. We must always debate about what must be done. And the important part, lastly, is on the bill, the internally displaced persons. We don't want to make them only as refugees. The point is they have been displaced within their own country. And I think that is a very important feature of the bill, which we need to look at for ourselves.
Please remember to subscribe to us and switch on the notifications for this channel. For our other social media links, more content, and to support our work, please visit citti.net. Dhanyavad. Namaskar.